Streaming, dude.
Okay. Let me change the mic.
Streaming, starting stream. And now it's live. Uh-oh.
Test, 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 test. Good.
Audio check, audio check. Test, test, test. Audio check, audio check. Audio check. Audio check.
I said we're going to get, is this on? Is this on? Nope. Yes. Working now? Okay. We're going to get started in just a couple of minutes, making sure that we have, if you've got a seat next to you that says reserved, raise your hand. Okay. And if you got one that it does not say reserved, raise your hand. Okay, so we've got, there's seats of all varieties here. And if you have not taken your reserved seat so far, you're out of luck, okay? Because anybody that's coming in now, fill in anywhere there is a space, except for those, like there's 3 back there. Yes, Mike. Yeah, once more, hands up if you've got a seat next to you, either, doesn't matter, seat. Yeah, over here, there's some. Here, there's some. 4 of them, who said that? Okay, 4 of them right up here. One of them over there? Is it reserved for blondes? Good, good. Comes my wife. Yes, that means we're done? All right. Okay. Well, Pam, are you going to use a, is Pam, where's Pam? Oh, she's in the other room. I wondered if she's going to use she's going to use this mic? No. Okay. Thank you all very much for joining us here today. It's been my pleasure to put together this little event, and I did so because I believe that we desperately need to have a focus on the right thing this day. Here's the deal. We've got, and by the way, if you won't, please silence your cell phones and, whatever that thing, when you go to the movies and they start all that stuff, just think you're seeing it up here, okay? This is today's Denver Post, and for the last few days, of course, this full-page ad has appeared for the 15th anniversary 9/11 ceremony. Now, it's a free tribute concert featuring John Fogerty and the Big Head Todd and the Monsters. Okay, I mean, I'm sure that's a great band, or two bands there. I'm not sure if it's one or two. And it's going to have food trucks and beer garden on site. Okay, great. Now, I guarantee you that there will be things said. Certainly, I hope that there will be things said about the first responders and the others that were killed, the victims that were killed on 9/11. There will be, tributes to them. But I will also bet you that there will never be one word said about the perpetrators of 9/11 at this event or any other around. It's typical, as I say, of almost all events being held around the country today. In the few places where brave students and citizens have dared to actually introduce the topic, their actions have been met with immediate reprisals from what I call the diversity Gestapo. For instance, at a community college in California not too long ago, just last week, a group of students were denied permission to hold a 9/11 commemoration because it would make some students there feel, quote, uncomfortable. And their posters that had been put up to describe the event were torn down, not by the custodian, not taking them down but by the professors there. There's not a single textbook today in this country that would dare risk the truthful discussion of the role of radical Islam in the events of 9/11, or any other jihadist killings that have gone on throughout the world, and certainly here in America. After all, who wants to risk the wrath of, say, the federal government? You have the Attorney General of the United States, if you can believe this. I mean, every day you're confronted by something that you say, this can't be true. This can't be happening. This is not America. I have a bumper sticker on our car. It says, I miss the America I grew up in. And I do. I miss the America where you actually could trust your government, was essentially on your side. If you were not part of the bad guy group, you felt good about the FBI, let's say. I mean, I can't say anymore that I have those feelings. I am worried about America. I am worried about the institutions of America. They are under assault. Here is the Attorney General of the United States saying, she told a group of Muslim advocates recently that the Justice Department was prepared to take, quote, aggressive action against people employing anti-Muslim rhetoric. This is in America. This is, from somebody who is supposed to know what the First Amendment is all about. It reminds me when I was speaking on college campuses, and there was always a demonstration and always trying to stop me. And the one I could never get over was the one at the University of Michigan Law School. Law school. They kept pulling the fire alarms to stop me from speaking. I mean, I kept coming back though, man. It took me till 10:30 that night, but I gave my speech. But just amazing, absolutely amazing to me. Something like the law school, where they certainly are not teaching anything about the Bill of Rights and especially the First Amendment. Amazing. Aggressive action against people employing anti-Muslim rhetoric. I don't know what we're doing here today, but who knows what they will come down with and what they will think about it. And I really don't care, I must tell you. I want to thank Colorado Christian University for their courage today in allowing this event to be held here. And I would like some applause. I will tell you, there were others that would not let us do this. So a special thanks, and when you see the folks from CCU who might be around here, please tell them that you appreciate their courage also. Virtually no public institution of higher education, or for that matter, any other public school in the nation, will hold forums in which an intellectually honest and thorough analysis of the historical events we refer to as 9/11 will occur. There will and should be praise, as I say, for the first responders, for their courage, and for the people, the other victims of the horrible, horrible tragedy, the murders of so many thousands on this day 15 years ago. But there will be no mention of the murderers. But here, we will tell the truth. You will hear the truth. I want you to tell others. There are students, and I'm hoping, I know there's a professor here who has a class, and he's given his students extra credit. I hope you're in here someplace. All right, there you are, sir. Thank you. As I say, I don't want to just be speaking to the choir. I want to have people here who need to hear this. Students need to hear the truth of what happened here in 15 years ago in this country. There will certainly be no mention of another taboo subject in the world of academia or the popular media, and that's the ramifications of massive Muslim immigration into the West. Well, into the darkness and ignorance created by the politically correct comes the light we are about to shed here today. And I'm going to introduce our shining star to bring that light is someone who I think most of you know. He brings you know what, Peter, I was thinking today, what a great, I was using all these metaphors. She's a shining star. You're a lightsaber. And I want to hear that. I want to hear that from now on all the promotions. And here's Peter Boyles, the lightsaber of Denver, Colorado. Come on.
Working with Tancredo has been one of the highlights of my life. This is really a special event. Tommy's absolutely right. The fact that I'm at a Christian university and there's not been a lightning strike speaks volumes. I ride motorcycles. Everybody knows it. All my life I've ridden motorcycles, and we have this other friendship around motorcycling with Tom. And the last couple of days have been great. I tried to ride Trail Ridge last weekend. I had 2 inches of snow and I had to come back. But this weekend and I finally got healthy. I want to introduce you to some special people. I've been 4 times in the Middle East in the last couple of years. And we just got back from Egypt. And there's a young man here. Actually, Mike's here too, Mike McAlpin, who has been running this entire afternoon and evening. Michael is, we got stories about our Egyptian travels together that we can't tell. However, with Michael and myself and George and Father, and we'll all be together coming, I want to plug this, and Tancredo will be there, North Jeffco Tea Party, Thursday night. All of us will be there and we'll talk about, and George especially, who's candidate for Congress, will talk about what we saw in Egypt and what's been happening. Long story short, I want to plug this Thursday night, September the 15th at 6:30 at Tri-City Baptist Church in Westminster. And then next Saturday night on the 17th is going to be the big gathering, Decision 16, and John Voight's in town, and Mary Hart, and Sheriff Clark from Milwaukee. And you can look at that on the website on 710 KNUS. And I can see everybody there. It's a gimme like this, and it's going to be great. So as a motorcycle guy, I was with a kid this afternoon, and if you know bikers, or a biker talks to every other biker, so he's telling me this story, and he's about a 30-year-old kid. He's inked up, and he said that he was sitting at a stoplight about 5 days ago, and he said he was minding his own business, and he was waiting for the light to turn green. And he said that a carload of these bearded, young, very loud Muslims shouting anti-American slogans with a half-burned American flag duct taped to the trunk of the car and said, "Remember 9/11" underneath it. And the light changes, and he said the Muslims praise Allah, and they shook their fist at him, and they hit the gas, and they shot straight ahead of him. And suddenly, an 18-wheeler comes speeding through the intersection, and it ran directly over the car, crushes it completely, killing everybody in the car. And he says to me, he said, "Peter," I think to myself, "Oh my God, Peter, that could have been me." And the next day, bright and early, he went out and became a truck driver. You know I'll hear about that joke. Most of the officers who are here tonight, too, are wonderful. I know some of the guys are here, the Glendale guys are here, and some of the local guys are here, and I actually think there's guys, they always talk like this, and they got those guys, I don't know who they are, but yeah, they're either following me and Tancredo or they're working here. Robert Spencer is the reason I know Pam Geller. And this is years and years and years ago, and I was working at Brand X before I got fired, and I was coming to work, and the all-night guy on KOA was ripping this guy named Robert Spencer on the air, calling him a racist and all these horrible things. And this is prior to 9/11. And I'm saying, man, this guy, he's going after him and crushing the guy. So I get in on a job, and I say, Robert Spencer, let's look him up. And I find this remarkable, then pretty much unknown website called Jihad Watch. And so I call the guy up, and if you know Robert Spencer, I mean, he's the most pulled back individual who is stone cold brilliant. And I said, hey, you know, hearing bad stuff on you, obviously your place is with us on the radio. Teddy Roosevelt's daughter from his first marriage was named Alice Roosevelt, and she married the guy Longsworth. It becomes the office building where Tancredo's office actually was when Tommy was in Congress. And she had a great line, and she said, if you don't have anything nice to say about someone, come sit next to me. I run a radio career out of that. And so I get a hold of Spencer, and the guy's a gift. The guy's so brilliant. And he is very, if you've listened to Mr. Spencer speak, he's very monotone. He's a killer. Well, that's when I started getting I've always had people mad at me and yell at me and send me unsigned letters. The late Alan Berg taught me a lesson. You got a letter, you open it up, if it's signed, read it. If it's not signed, throw it out. That way, you know, because the guy has the rocks to tell you who he is, then you'll read the letter. So I get into Spencer. So Spencer, we're having this private conversation. Spencer says, do you know Pam Geller? And I said, no. He said, Pam's got, and Robert's brave. I mean, Robert's really, really brave. And then Robert wasn't allowed to come to England anymore, if you remember that, because of political correctness. And Pammy, I don't think you're allowed in England, are you? You're not. Pardon me? You were banned first? You were banned before Robert? I apologize. You were banned before. And they get banned in, how can you get banned in San Francisco? I mean, they're like, they wanted to buy cab backs. Now, and I am this huge champion of gay rights, but they had, like, the gay capital of the world, San Francisco, and they wanted to buy bus sides and cab backs and about what the jihadi people were doing to gay people. And these people, like they banned them from, like, the stuff that Tom's talking about. It was a horrible thing. So, anyhow, I've never met Pam until today. Craig Silverman's here, by the way, who is my colleague and my dear friend. Craig, actually, they know one another. I never met Pammy before. Big man, stand up. And anyhow, so I start putting Pam on the air. And I have Pam and Spencer. And between that and travels and reading and listening to people speak, and Robert Spencer is an intellectual. He truly is. He speaks the language, and he would say, read this, read that, read this. And I can tell you that everything, I've watched her speak privately. She's a home run. I'll get out of the way. I got to tell you something. You guys got rocks coming here because I know the background of what was going on when Tommy wanted to put this show on. And I helped Chuck Morris, who was promoting what is taking place in downtown Denver. And he's absolutely right. They're not going to say a GD word about who did what happened and everything like that. It's just going to be these memorial tributes, which are wonderful. But it's like saying, we're going to memorialize Pearl Harbor, but we're not going to talk about the Japanese. That's wrong. But it's political correctness. First person to ever use the term politically correct was Trotsky, when he said we must be politically correct in the thoughts of Lenin. That's where it comes from. And it's a mindset. And it's repeated itself. It's taking place in North Korea. It took place in Mao's China. It took place in Hitler's Germany, Mussolini's, Stalin's Russia. You must think like we think. If you don't, then you're a criminal. You end up in the gulag. And that's what's happening. We're in an intellectual gulag. It's only the first step. Because once you can silence Pam Geller and silence Robert Spencer and do stuff to Tom Tancredo and shut people down, what did the guy say? The people tell you we can't read books, eventually we'll burn them. This is a huge night. I love it. Next Saturday night, again, plug in the radio station. We got another big event you can see on the website. I've taken a lot of pictures. Mark Crowley's wife won't let him out of the house tonight. I'll do my best job to get them on the internet. You can take a look at them. And Silverman and I had this big talk, and Tancredo. Actually, Tom carries a video around with him now of Hillary Clinton being lugged out of a building in New York. Without further ado, she hung the moon, ladies and gentlemen, one of the bravest women I've ever known, the talented Miss Pam Geller. And her book's for sale.
Thank you. First, I want to thank you for having the courage to come and hear me speak. It's a big deal. Look to your left and look to your right. These are the soldiers in the war for freedom. I do not overstate it. When the jihadis flew the planes into the building, were those lawyers and stockbrokers and waiters, waitresses wearing a uniform? Were they our soldiers? Were they our fighters? Yes. And so are you. That is this war. I'm not interested in what happened 100 years ago. I'm not interested in how this war went down or that war went down. Every war is different. And so I want to thank Tom Tancredo. What a treasure you have in that man. You know, these groups, Tea Party groups, team packs, they're great. They invite a speaker. Everybody's so happy. Rah, rah, rah. You know, it's like you invite Geller. It's like a Geller. You know, it's fraught with peril. And most people back down. After Garland, 25 speaking engagements were canceled. Everything was canceled. A complete, darkness over the country. But I will tell you, for the first time in months, I'm hopeful. I'll get to that. But before that, I must thank Tom Tancredo. I must thank law enforcement of Glendale and Denver. Oh my God. The threats come and they're very real. here we are, yeah? 15 years, the crystal anniversary of 9/11, and nothing is clear, let alone crystal. Imagine that I don't worry about the fanaticism of the enemy as much as I worry about the confusion on our side. Now, my journey really is quite illustrative of the whole of the war. 9/11, previous to 9/11, I was your quintessential New York City career girl, publisher of the New York Observer, loved my fashion, loved my life, loved my jokes. I assumed my freedom. And so on 9/11, when I was watching those towers come down, my premise was shattered. I didn't know who had attacked the country, and I felt guilty about that. I set about to find out. I read Ibn Warq and Bacheyor and Robert Spencer. And I noticed that the more I found out, the more the elites, the cultural media elites, were scrubbing and whitewashing. Of course your children don't know anything about 9/11. It's a day of service, don't you know? It is not a day of service. It's a day of mourning. Largest terrorist attack on American soil. You want a day of service? You make it 9/12. But again, it's a way of the leftist Islamic alliance, the red-green alliance, of obfuscating an issue. And this is what we're living in now, the age of deceit, the age of fear. I started a website because increasingly the media was abandoning its role in the telling of this story. And I was commenting on jihad blogs, many of you know them. And someone sent me a template, and I started blogging, started Atlas Shrugs. Now, it's important that you know this and understand this, because I'm just a girl. I'm just an individual who started blogging, and the work that you see and you know came as a result of the mothership, Atlas Shrugs. The ads, the lawsuits, all of it. And I know that they want to paint me as some kind of a hater, racist, Islamophobic, anti-Muslim bigot. I'm sure you've heard it all. And yet, when they talk about CARE, an unindicted co-conspirator in the largest terrorist funding trial in our nation's history, half of their leadership is convicted of jihad terror-related crimes. They're the largest Muslim advocacy group in America. Things don't just happen. They are made to happen. What you are seeing, the Islamization of the workplace, the Islamization of the public square, the Islamization of your children's curriculum, is all by design. It is not by happenstance. It is a huge machine. George Soros spends upwards of $1 million to come up with opposition research on me and my colleagues. We now know that Soros and other leftist organizations were paying media. There's conspiracy theory and there's conspiracy fact. We now know it's conspiracy fact. Paying media to push the nuclear pact with Iran. NPR, the venerable NPR. I mean, we're not talking about Daily Kos here. NPR received $750,000. There is a machine at work to destroy your freedoms, to destroy you. It's a war. And I will tell you that the rules of engagement in the information battle space are as brutal as the rules of engagement in the fields of Afghanistan. It is a war of ideas. And this is why I do what I do. The lawsuits, the ads, I know I'm a provocateur. Yes, everybody wants this kind of attention. Let me tell you how glamorous it is. The ads. Let's talk about the ads for a second. As you know, I've run ads in cities that caused enormous controversy. Why did I run those ads? Because I was responding to disgusting, libelous, pro-jihad or anti-Israel ads that needed a response. It's not rocket science. Every blood libel against Israel runs without consequence. So in New York, a particularly disgusting ad was running, and I ran an ad that said, in any war between the civilized man and the savage, support the civilized man. Support Israel, defeat jihad. Yeah? It's elemental. No, you can't run them. And so it took a year. My law firm and I, American Freedom Law Center, sued. We won. We got those ads up, and heads began to explode. And every television interview, newspaper interview was vicious. I don't care. You know why? I'm right. What's the problem? I mean, the best is Erin Burnett. Watch the one with me and Erin Burnett when she's saying that, well, you know, that word is savage. It's very offensive word. I said to her, well, did you see the beheading video of Daniel Pearl? Was that savage? Well, I don't know if I would call it. As soon as she couldn't say, and if you've seen that, I had never seen a beheading video, and I never saw one after that. I only had to see that one to understand the enemy. Because, you know, beheading, I think you're taking a big sword, a chrap, what, the one chop of the head. Oh, no. Oh, no. This takes forever with a dull knife. It's unbelievable and gruesome. Savage. So the ads went up, and it caused a huge kerfuffle, but I loved it because it was a teachable moment. And this is what has happened across the country. Ads, as you know, Peter alluded to one ad I created. CARE, the Hamas group, created an ad to rebrand jihad. They came up with a series of ads like this. My jihad is getting up in the morning. My jihad is going to the gym every day. My jihad is making friends. So I took prominent Muslims and I ran their actual quotes. That's it. Well, let me tell you something. Had to sue in 3 different cities. San Francisco, I ran, because it's the gay capital of America, Mecca, gay Mecca of America. I ran Sheikh Qaradawi, leader of the Muslim world. I ran the president of Iran. And wait, check it out. The Human Rights Council and the City Council of San Francisco came out against me in the first resolution of its kind. This is how nuts, absurd the age we are living in, the age of fear and the age of absurdity. Now let me tell you the upshot in all this. The upshot in all this is every time I win and my ads go up, the truth is so painful because we're living in an era of such a lie, they then ban political ads. New York City, in their 100-year history, has never banned ads. All political ads were banned. The Geller banned. Washington, D.C., Boston, Massachusetts, Miami, Chicago, Seattle. That is a violation of the freedom of speech. That's a different lawsuit. Here in Denver, they're too cute by half. They say that they run political ads. And right now, as we speak, they're running vicious Boycott Israel ads. Boycott Israel, that whole boycott, divestment, and sanction movement, so that you understand what it is the same thing as Kristallnacht, the Nazi template of economically boycotting Jews to dehumanize them and delegitimize them. It's the same thing. Different coat, same person underneath. It's a vicious dehumanization campaign. Anyway, so I submitted ads to Denver, of Muhammad quotes. Again, I never editorialize, ever. And it was Muhammad saying, I have been made victorious through terror. All of his direct quotes, now they wouldn't run it. Oh, first they made me go through, yeah, I had to prove everything I said. So Bukhari, Quran, everything. Then they said, we're not going to run the ads. So I have to take Denver to court now. And you wait and see, in a year, oh yeah, they will ban ads here. But what you can do is, you can start calling up the TA in Denver and start making a ruckus, which is exactly how the enemy gets his way. Start making a ruckus. When you get up in the morning, you say, what can I do today to save the Republic? You have to make a ruckus. You have to make some noise. You have to do this. You know, it's an interesting thing, this war. It's like people get so upset. They're like, oh my God, the problem is so big. I can't handle it. It's insurmountable. You know, why do they think of it this way? It's like a doctor saying, oh my God, there's so many sick people in the world. I can't cure everybody. I'm not going to cure anybody. Really, think about it. They won by drip, 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 relentless drip, drip, drip. That's what we have to do. You have to, every time you see an injustice, you have to fight it. For example, Tom Tancredo brought up Facebook. Ha ha ha, wasn't it funny? I'm not going to make jokes because I don't find any of this funny. I'm sorry. He put up a picture and he was banned. He was blocked for two weeks, 2 months, right? Now, I will tell you that this has happened to me 3 hours after the Orlando shooting, where I named the jihadist. They not only took me down, they took my Stop Islamization of America page down with 75,000 members. Now, I make a stink because on Facebook, my page alone has 500,000 followers. So I get on there on my pulpit and on Twitter, and my people, shoulder to shoulder, blast it out. And so now it became a big story. Daily Mail did it, Israel National News did it, Russian TV, I mean, across the world, and they reinstated me. But what about you? What are you going to do? Which is why we're suing Loretta Lynch. Why are we suing Loretta Lynch? It's an excellent question. Because I mean to win. I won't sue because a lawsuit sounds good. We need to win. When people file bad lawsuits, they set bad precedent for us. Loretta Lynch is being sued, Department of Justice Attorney General, because Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube enjoy immunity from these lawsuits, violations of the First Amendment, under Section 230 of the FCC code. So we're going to sue, we're going to win, and then we're going after Facebook. Oh, yes. You mark my words, I'm going to win. The hardest thing to explain is the glaringly evident, which everybody has decided not to see. That's the era we're living in. Let me tell you, 2 weeks ago, George Washington University hired Jesse Morton. Jesse Morton is a jihadi convicted of jihad terror-related activities, plotted death threats against me, plotted to kill the producers of South Park because they put Muhammad in a Huggy Bear costume, remember that? And he was a recruiter for ISIS. He was sentenced to 12 years in 2012. Today, he is out and he has been hired as an expert on Homeland Security at George Washington University. These things don't happen by accident. I can tell you right now, I don't speak at university. Last university I spoke to was Brooklyn College. Watch it. Watch it. Muslim students stood online for hours to get in. Watch that speech. We don't get invited. Not Robert Spencer, Ibn Warwick, Wafa Sultan, Noni Darwish, no. But he is an expert. But Tariq Ramadan, the grandson of the founder of the Muslim Brotherhood, the silver-tongued snake, he's evil. He's welcomed, paid $30K a speech. You know, the Ground Zero Mosque, which, by the way, 6 years ago today, we had 35,000 people at Ground Zero. And looking at the left, Marco was here. He photographed it, amazing photographs. And by the way, we defeated that mosque. It's a big deal. I don't mean to be jumping all over the place, but there's a lot. I want to bring that up, the mosque, quickly, because I want you to understand, no matter how insurmountable the odds, you had a president who came out in support of the Ground Zero Mosque at the iftar dinner. And the media wanted this mosque. You saw how nuts they went on me. An Islamic center a few blocks away from the ground, excuse me, it was a 15-story mega mosque in a building that was destroyed in the 9/11 attacks. That's Ground Zero, okay? So, I mean, media wanted it. The mayor of New York City at the time, Mayor Bloomberg, wanted it. If we don't build the mosque, the terrorists will win. You can't make this stuff up. And mind you, think about in the age of ISIS, what that mega mosque at Ground Zero, Mecca on the Hudson, would have meant symbolically in the world. So you had the mayor, you had the media, you had the culture, you had the Jon Stewarts, you had the president, and we defeated it. I tell you, the power of the people is the greatest power in the world. Do not underestimate your power. This is what they want you to do. You see, because this country was based on individual rights. It was the first country in the history of man, the first moral government in the history of the world based on individual rights. And everything brilliant and noble that we achieved as a nation was a logical fidelity to that principle, the power of the individual. When people talk about American exceptionalism, something President Obama will never begin to understand. So when he's asked, you know, do you believe in American exceptionalism? Well, I believe in it like I believe in British exceptionalism and Greek exceptionalism. That's what he said. Wrong. Wrong answer, President Obama. American exceptionalism is individual exceptionalism. It's the exaltation of the individual. That is something that we cannot lose in this country, or the country is forever lost. So what got me to ground zero? What got me to ground zero was the ground zero mosque imam, who was feted all over the world. All over the world. The State Department sent him on these junkets for hundreds of thousands of dollars. He was paid $30K a speech to speak at the Ivy League on a tour. This is what he said about 9/11. He said, 9/11 was a watershed. It was a major force in catalyzing the attention towards the issue of Islam and its presence in the West. And he's absolutely right. That's exactly what it did. Who here thought about Islam before 9/11? The great pity is, okay, we got a hand, which goes to stop showing off, okay? You get my point, okay? You get my point. Nobody cares about Islam as a religion. Nobody. Nobody in this room cares about Islam as a religion. We don't care if you worship a stone. Just don't stone us with it. Unlike canon law, which pertains only to Christians, and Jewish law, which pertains only to Jews, Sharia law, Islamic law, asserts its authority over non-Muslims, which is why you see the wholesale slaughter of Christians in Iraq and Syria, of Coptic Christians in Egypt, and Christians in Libya, Jews in Israel, religious minorities, secular Muslims, poets in Bangladesh. And when they tell you that it's only a couple of extremists, make sure you hold up pictures of the hundreds of thousands of Muslims who marched for the death of bloggers, of poets, and of free thinkers under the Sharia in Bangladesh, okay? That's not a small fraction. A small fraction could not be causing the kind of chaos and tumult in the world that we are seeing now. It is just not possible. Moderates will not save us. Why? Why won't moderates save us? Because moderates do not have a theological leg to stand on. That's why. There is nothing. It is not like Jewish law. It is not like the Bible. It is not like the New Testament. Because you are not allowed to reform or reinterpret in the word of the Quran, the word of Allah. This is very important that you understand this. You know, I'm Jewish, and I can tell you that in Jewish religion, Judaism, they encourage you to talk. They encourage you to think. They encourage you to question to a point where you want to say, shut up already, you know? Always question, always educate. Oh, this driving force. You are not allowed to do this in Islam. If you attempt to reinterpret or reform the word of Allah as seared into the memory of Muhammad, it is the crime of hypocrisy. Hypocrisy is punishable by death. It is like apostasy. They cannot. You need to understand this. You need to understand why the enemy is so relentless. Remember, after 9/11, it was all about bin Laden, and it was all about Al-Qaeda, and it was all about bin Laden, and it was all about, well, bin Laden is dead. And Al-Qaeda has basically been vanquished into different groups, by and large. I mean, Zawahiri's sitting in some cave somewhere, whatever. But why is it that Zawahiri can say, or Baghdadi can say, Australian Muslims, go kill the infidel. Kill the infidel. The Quran tells you to do it. And the next day, a guy walking his dog is stabbed in the neck with a giant knife. What is doing that? It's the ideology, and that is why we have failed 9/11. President Bush, when I read these notes of Ari Fleischer's that were released yesterday, the notes he was taking during the attacks, I was struck. I was struck by two things. A, Bush said we are at war. So if you're saying we are at war, how could you say Islam is a religion of peace? How could you say that? And Andy Card said to him when he said, Bush said, "Is my dog okay?" And he's like, "Yeah, he's nipping at Bin Laden's feet." They knew it was Bin Laden. I mean, this really unnerves me. Why? Why scrub? The scrub-a-dub all the time, every day. Every day, these knife attacks, if you're not reading Atlas Shrugged, you don't know about them, but they're every day. Austria, France, UK, you think it's not coming here? I tell you it's coming. The only difference between them and us is numbers, which, by the way, Obama means to fix on his way out. Europe is destroyed. Europe is now, we are watching the complete meltdown of Europe. Girls can't go out, okay? They can't leave their house. They report sex crimes every music festival since Cologne. And by the way, Cologne, I don't know if you know what happened in Cologne, New Year's Eve in Germany, Cologne, massive sexual attacks, robberies, okay, by the migrants. It wasn't just Cologne. It was Stuttgart. It was Stockholm. It was Oslo. It was in France. It was literally a continent-wide terrorist attack. That's terror. When you don't protect your young girls, you have no future. Because as a country, I don't care how big and strong and brave your men are, young women are the future of your country. And if you don't protect them, you are finished. And that's what's happening. Everyone is so afraid to insult Islam. That is the Sharia. In Garland, Texas. Why was I in Garland, Texas? I was not looking to provoke anybody. 3 days after the Hebdo slaughter, Muslim leaders in America gathered in that venue in Garland, Texas, to stand with the Prophet in support of the Sharia. If there was ever a time to stand up, American Muslims, and show that you can integrate and you can be compatible with the First Amendment, wouldn't it have been then? No, they held a conference against Islamophobia. What is Islamophobia? It's a thought-crushing device designed to kill any criticism of Islam. That's Sharia. Under the Sharia, you cannot criticize Islam. It is punishable by death. That's it. So we went to Garland because Muslim leaders in America stood up for the Sharia, and the media just, thought that was darling, And we held an art exhibit. And the point was to show Muhammad was depicted all through 1400 years. He's been depicted and they weren't killing people. Why are they doing it now? To violently impose Islamic law on the West. And it's working. Salman Rushdie just did an interview recently. You know who Salman Rushdie was. 1979, Ayatollah Khomeini, supreme leader of Iran, issued a fatwa on his head because he insulted Muhammad in his book, Satanic Verses. Here's what he said when asked would he do it again. He said, "I'm not sure." He said he would not receive the same support from his peers as he did in 1989, that the response to Hebdo was pathetic and weak-willed. He said, "They would call me an Islamophobe today." This is how far we have traveled since 9/11. How can anyone say 9/11 wasn't successful? We've got to stop discussing it in their terms. This is key. There must be a revolution of the mind. We must stop being on the defense. No war has ever been won on the defense, ever. Operation Fetal Position is no strategy for victory. So I run those ads. I love those ads. Love them. I had Hitler on the bus, commiserating with the leader of the Muslim world. Oh, people didn't like that. You put Hitler on a bus? You can't put Hitler on a bus. I said, why? We defeated him. What's the problem? He's a fact of history. What's the problem? They didn't really like the Mufti. That's who they didn't like on the bus. Because the Nazis paid. You could say what you want. The Germans had paid for what they did. I don't see the Muslim world paying for what they did. They had a large role. The Mufti al-Husseini, the leader of the Muslim world, raised Muslim armies for Hitler in Bosnia. He was responsible for the death of 400,000 Jewish women and children. He was building a death camp on the blueprints of Auschwitz in Nablus. I mean, and they let him escape. The French let him escape. He wished he was a bigger player, but my God, they were just in the desert with rocks and stones. They were riding Hitler's coattails. But people don't know this. And while the interviews were very hostile, I got to say these things that people didn't know. that there were Palestinian Muslims and there were Palestinian Jews before the establishment of Israel in 48, and the Palestinian Muslims were slaughtering the Palestinian Jews. That the leader of the Muslim world was conducting pogroms, and where did the leader of the Muslim world, al-Husseini, cut his teeth? In the Armenian Holocaust. And we're still debating that one. We're so afraid of Turkey that we will not, I mean, what happened to us? We're supposed to be the force for good. We were the moral light in the world. And that is why you see the world spinning out of control. Which will take me a little bit to the election, if you don't mind. First, I want to say something. I don't know if any of you saw the video today of Hillary. That woman is very sick. I mean, I've been studying this woman for a long time. I have no love for this woman whatsoever. She's a criminal. She's evil. She is. She sold out this country, pay for play. When we left the White House, we had no money. We were dead broke. Okay, she has $100 million now. She didn't produce anything. She didn't create anything. She didn't make anything. How'd she get that? Selling influence. $1 billion, the Clinton Global Initiative. $1 billion around Haiti. They did nothing. She is a criminal. She is evil. In her right ear, literally, Julian Assange leaked that document that it's Huma who's in charge of her earpiece, Huma Abedin, Muslim Brotherhood scion. I mean, oh, and when it comes out that she was the editor of a jihad journal that said America was responsible for 9/11, they said, oh no, her name was just on the masthead. She didn't work there. Oh, wait a minute. Why was her name on the masthead? She was famous. She was famous in 2005? Nobody knew her. They say whatever they want, the media repeats it, and you're supposed to shake your head like a bobblehead, okay? But this video today, she's sick. I'm telling you, look at it. She's a sick woman. They don't care, and I'll tell you why they don't care. They want to get her in. Tim Kaine is a Soros puppet. He's as bad, if not worse, than all of them. That's all they want. It doesn't matter who the puppet is in there. It is an evil machine that just has to get the power to finish the job that Obama started. As for Trump, yes, he was vicious. He was vicious after Garland came after me, said I was an obnoxious blowhard. I wonder if he was looking in the mirror. He said that I was a terrible messenger, that I was taunting Muslims, and all this. I want to say a couple things. I was for Cruz. I loved Cruz, okay? I did. I think he's a great man. He didn't make it. What are we talking about? He didn't make it. And I know why he didn't make it. He didn't make it because in this fight, you need an ankle biter who gives it as good as he gets it. You need someone who, when is questioned by the media, is not going to start like trimming his narrative and backing back and re-explaining. He gives them the middle finger. I'm sorry, but that's where the Democrats took this election, into the gutter. And you say, well, I'm not going to go into the gutter. Oh, really? Then you're going to lose. I'm sorry, it's just the way it is. Nobody else could win. I don't know if he's going to win, but I can tell you, he's the only one who can win. I did not support him at first because I said, if you don't understand the First Amendment, you cannot be President of the United States. But I do not believe that Trump would make those remarks today. I think he's learned a lot. I know some of the people that are advising him, they're very good people. And I'm saying this. Did he apologize? No. Does he ever apologize? That's sort of what I like about him. We're always apologizing. You ever notice that? Apologize. apologize. You have to apologize to CARE, and you have to apologize to this one, and you got to apologize to that one. You got always apologizing. Please, stop apologizing. Just stop. When they say, why won't you apologize, say, I can't apologize. Pamela told me I'm not allowed. A victory for Trump may not be a victory for conservatives, but a defeat for Trump is a defeat for us all. We must be more aggressive. We must go on the counter offense. You know, everyone's always talking about diversity. You notice that? Diversity and multiculturalism. We need more. There is no diversity of opinion in the world of diversity. You notice that? It's shirt color, skin color, hair color, this color, that. All the things that have nothing to do with here and here. Nothing. We can't even have a conversation. There is a problem in Islam. And the problem is we can't talk about the problem. And we need to open it up. I mean, crack it open at this point. If they call you an Islamophobe, bow. Okay? If they call you a racist, I mean, this is what they do. Racist has a worse connotation in this country than murderer. He's a murderer. Oh, really? What happened? Did she cheat on him? All of a sudden, people are making excuses. You know, you got Hollywood activating for a cop murderer. You know, there's something chic about it in this polluted and sick, morally inverted world that we live in. But racist? And what's interesting to me is how Islamic groups have adopted the narrative of the African American community, which of course for me is hysterical, but it's not. Because in Arab countries, the word for black is abid, slave. The modern day slavery in this world is in Muslim countries. Mauritania, 20% of the population of Mauritania is blacks enslaved by Muslims. Reverend Sharpton, call your office. No one ever talks about it. They're talking about, 200 years ago about slavery in America. Excuse me, but 650,000 Americans lost their lives writing that wrong. Shut up already. Blacks enjoy the highest standard of living in this country. Enough. Basta. But you see, once you've compromised on the idea of rugged individualism and individual rights, then it's a very, very slippery slope. So when you say, what can I do? You know, you can do everything. You are out in the world. You see what's going on. You are grandparents. You are parents. Read your children's textbooks. Do you know they're being taught the Shahada? Do you know they're being taught the 5 pillars of Islam? I don't know. I have not seen one class teaching the Lord's Prayer, let alone the Shema. You've got to speak up. You've got to go in and change it. I think the universities are gone. I mean it. I think they're finished. I don't know how that can possibly be repaired. But if your kid or grandchild doesn't want to be a doctor or a lawyer or a particular vocation, don't burn through your money to turn them over and become one of the invasion of the body snatchers. The world is changing. You may not see it from yesterday, but nothing happens for decades, and decades happen in a day, and people are seduced by the illusion of permanence. This is not the same country it was 15 years ago, and it's certainly not the same country it was 30 years ago. The left declared war with, a little girl in a daisy. Remember the little girl in the black and white commercial? Little girl in the daisy. It is the worst kind of evil with a happy face. This is what we're seeing. You cannot be fooled. You must have the courage of your convictions. You are right. You are righteous. Do not bow down. Do not back down. If you're in a bakery and you hear somebody say something stupid, answer them. Answer them. So you're going to lose friends? You don't want those friends. I mean, actually, I have no friends. I really did. I really lost a lot of friends, it's true. But I can't talk to somebody who's off their minds. We are living in the age of absurdity and lies. My God, do you remember the narrative was every time there was a jihadi attack, lone wolf, lone wolf. We hear about the lone wolves every day. Well, that's a lot of lone wolf packs. There are no lone wolves in the global jihad. President of Turkey, Erdogan, oft quotes an Islamic poem. The mosques are our fortresses, the minarets are our bayonets, and the Muslim faithful are our soldiers. There are no lone wolves. They are all Muslim soldiers, and their playbook is the Quran, and there are 1,400 years of jihadi wars, land appropriations, cultural annihilations, and enslavements. 300 million victims that no one ever talks about. And I will not be a party to that. Dangerous what I do? I say it's more dangerous not to do it. People are afraid. I say it's more fearful to be afraid. Look what's at stake. Everything. You won't like what comes after America. And whether Trump can purge the DOJ, yeah, you got to purge the DOJ. When you have William Killian of the Department of Justice vowing to criminalize social postings on Facebook, Twitter that offend Muslims, you better get involved. Now, when I read that, and he was going to announce this at an outreach meeting in Manchester, Tennessee. Hello? Clarion call, everybody haul butts to Manchester, Tennessee. And you know what? They did. In a town of 10,000 people, 2,500 people showed up. The place, it was a little place, like a little, was overwhelmed. And they backed off. I'm telling you, you got to get off the couch. Now, I know I'm preaching to converted because you're here, but maybe this video will go out elsewhere. There are people that are feeling defeated. I mean, at these functions, people will say, oh, he lost. Says who? Katie Couric? I tell you, there is hope. I mean tangible hope, real hope. Brexit was hope. They said it would be defeated, remember? They said it was over. Farage, who led the fight, right? He conceded 3 times that night. Absurd. But it won by a lot. I predict my friend and colleague, Geert Wilders, will be prime minister. Yeah. I see that. Wait a minute. What about Angela Merkel? This election last weekend. Lost overwhelmingly in her #1 district, her hometown. I'm telling you, there is, as I said, there is never in my lifetime, never so much a difference between the zeitgeist and the reality. What they want you, the ideas of the day, the opinions of the day, what they want you to think, and what people are actually thinking. Be unafraid. You see something, you see an ad. Let's say you see an ad. Write me. What do you want to do? I'll help you do it. I'll help you do it. You got something wrong in your school system? Somebody at work? You got fired because you said something wrong? You must start fighting back. And you have right on your side. This is what's so magnificent. You must start fighting that. We see the masking of the workplace. I mean, I'm talking a long time. If you start to nod out, let me know, because there's so much. Because there's so much. The masking of the workplace. We see it. Heinz, Hertz, Disney, Walmart, the big American iconic companies. Okay, they're being sued. Disney's being sued because she wants to wear the hijab. Well, Disney has a dress code since 1957. So Disney, this is always, whenever they try and appease, that's when they go for the jugular. Disney says, you know what? We'll design a costume incorporating your Islamic garb. Because, yeah, they said, look, well, you can work, everybody wears a uniform, go to the back office, we'll put you in the back office. I don't want to be in the back office, I want to be on the floor. Yeah, of course. So he said, okay, we'll design a costume incorporating the Islamic garb. And they did. And she goes, I wouldn't wear that thing. Oh, but you'll wear that thing. So Disney's being sued. Walmart, Target sued because the cashiers would not handle meat that was haram, that was not halal. If you're not going to handle meat that's not halal, why get a job at Target or Walmart? Go to the halal butcher. Get yourself a job there. Sued and lost. Sued and lost. Hertz, and it's always the companies that are the most benevolent, the most giving. Hertz was giving prayer rooms, prayer rugs, and prayer times. But here's what happened to sweet, kind Hertz. They weren't coming back. They were going out for prayer and they weren't coming back. Now Hertz says, well, you gotta come back. You gotta clock in. That's how we'll know you're coming back. We're not clocking in. You have to clock in or we'll suspend you. They wouldn't clock in. They were suspended. And now they're being sued. And this administration, and I can show you the Clinton administration, okay, will rule in their favor. It's what they do. Benghazi, we're being attacked on 9/11, and the President of the United States blames the First Amendment, blames a video that had 40 views. This is what incited the world. The first political prisoner of the Sharia in this country was the filmmaker Nabula, who was imprisoned. And it was, and I don't want to even say this, and it wasn't even the video, because even if it was, this is the country of the First Amendment. You stand up for it. Hillary Clinton invited the OIC. The OIC is the Organization of Islamic Cooperation, the world's largest body, consisting of 56 Muslim countries and the Palestinian authorities. I hate saying the word Palestinian because there is no such thing, but that's another speech. They have been seeking to impose the defamation, the blasphemy laws under the Sharia on the West since their inception. And let me say this, there is no blasphemy in a democracy. I'm sure you don't like it when they say nasty things about Jesus Christ, when on South Park they have him smoking cocaine, all terrible, nobody likes it. But you're not going out and you're not killing people over it, okay? On campuses, Jewish students are not safe. If you are pro-Israel, you're going to get an eviction notice on your door by Muslim students. They're going to harass you. They're going to beat you up. That's a fact. And the administration are scared to death of the Muslim Brotherhood groups like the Muslim Student Association that, with force, impose their Sharia and their Jew hatred. Islamic Jew hatred. It's in the Quran. This is what we see over and over and over. The lack of civilizational self-esteem. Where'd it go? Go watch those movies with Robert Mitchum and John Wayne, and they just walk like Americans, you know? Like, we're great. We're Americans. Such a thing. And they've worked so hard, decades and decades, to destroy it. And I tell you, they're on the cusp. They're on the cusp now. You know what was the most disturbing? Let me tell you the one last thing. The most disturbing thing about Garland. The most disturbing thing about the Garland terrorist attack, not that we were attacked, not that a cloud of darkness went over everyone that couldn't see, like the spell of Islam. 2 weeks ago in North Carolina, a leading recruiter for ISIS was arrested, Eric Jamal Hendricks. And in the indictment of Eric Jamal Hendricks, it comes out that he was the ringleader of Garland. He was organizing Sufi, and he was organizing Ibrahim Simpson, and it gets better. He's still at large, right? 15 months later, he's the ringleader, right? And there are conversations with him and the undercover FBI agent. Now, this story broke. It broke big because in the transcript it said that the FBI agent said, tear up Texas. So the left, Daily Beast, New York Times, they all went nuts like, you see? The FBI entrapped them. Oh, wait a minute. So, like, if the FBI said to me, tear up New York, I'm going to strap one on, get myself an Uzi, and kill hundreds of thousands of people? I mean, it's just, the idea of this entrapment is so absurd on its face. Could anyone get you to kill hundreds of people with a go in to a Christmas party in San Bernardino and slay everybody, and then when they're laying there laughing and shooting them, continuing to shoot them, they never tell you about the gruesomeness of the attack. They never tell you about what happened to Colleen Hufford, who was, slaughtered, beheaded by her co-worker. By her co-worker because she said something negative about the Sharia. And the mosque was teaching the caliphate, We knew this from an informant. Not the media didn't have the story. I got it from Robert Spencer. Teaching the caliphate, teaching hatred of the U.S., And what did Obama do? He sent that mosque a letter of commendation 3 days later. Every one of these attacks has a mosque behind it. Every single one. 80% of the mosques in this country are funded by the Saudi. 80% of the mosques in this country, according to 4 separate surveys over the past 13 years, are teaching, preaching, advancing jihad. But back to Garland. So he's telling him to tear up Texas. This undercover agent, you with me, comes to Garland. He's in my event, like with you right now. He's in my event. He can't have a gun because we didn't allow any guns in the event, which is why the 2 jihadis stormed the building with their AK-47s. Eric Jamal Hendricks is asking the FBI agent who's in my event covertly, how many people are there? Is the FBI there? How many law enforcement is there? I don't know what he responded because that wasn't in the indictment. What I found really upsetting and disturbing, not that he was there, I don't mind, not that he colluded in the attack. You know, Donnie Brasco, you got to get in with them to expose them. I get all that. What bothered me is that the FBI didn't have anybody there. What did the FBI hope to happen when the shooting started? What did they think was going to happen? Look around you. Look how much, I mean, when we do these events, look around you. Look what we have to do. For me to have this conversation with you, look at the little army that we have to have just for me to talk to you about this. That's the state of freedom in this country. That is the low state of freedom in this country. I know that. I know that, which is why I had an army there, and which is why, unlike San Bernardino, and unlike Orlando, and unlike Fort Hood, and unlike Chattanooga, and it had the best American outcome. The best American outcome. We exposed the jihad cell. We took out the jihadists. We arrested other people. I mean, but you never hear it in that context. And I will tell you the very best thing that happened out of Garland. The very best thing that happened out of Garland was this jihad cell had been planning for a year. They had been going out into the desert, practicing target shooting. They had wanted to blow up the Super Bowl. Why am I telling you this? Because if it wasn't my event, it would have been something else. It would have been a movie theater. It would have been a mall. It would have been San Bernardino. And people would be dead today. We saved lives. Make no mistake about it. Victory is not won in miles. It is won in inches. There's not going to be one big moment, but I believe there's going to be a tipping point. You win a little now, you hold your ground, and later you win a little more. That's what I do. And I hope that you'll join me in doing the same thing. Thank you very, very much.
This is, we went to see Phantom the other night. This is more applause than it got. And well worth it, by the way, I'm telling you. Well, hang on for a second, because she will take a few questions. We won't go too long, because she will also be signing books right back there, and I hope that you will take advantage of that opportunity. And since there are quite a few folks here, I don't want to keep everybody here all night, but we will spend next maybe 5 or 10 minutes at the most just taking questions, and then we'll go to a book signing, all right? So, let's see. Go ahead, ma'am.
On Hannity, he often has this orca, is it? It's supposed to be this calm, pleasant. He talks and talks, but I'm guessing it's a totally thing.
Listen, the thing is that, the thing is that we are surrounded by trimmers. You know what a trimmer is? It's someone who trims the narrative to make it more palpable, to make it, and so there is that element of not being completely forthright for fear of not being, you might lose the Hannity gig. You know, I haven't been on Hannity in a while. You might, people want to be in the mainstream. They don't want to lose the gig, and so they'll trim the narrative. And I think that that's a huge mistake because it's a lie. It's a lie. Like now this, it's mental illness. Sudden mental illness syndrome when they're screaming Allahu Akbar. You can't make this stuff up. And so, look, I don't think you're going to get any kind of real story off the television. I'm sorry. You have to choose who edits your news. Of course, I believe, based on my 15 years, I was going to say 1,500 years, it feels like that, right? My website, I update it 15 times a day. I stand on my reputation. I stand on everything I ever reported. People say, oh, I post the truth. That's what you need to do. You need to torment the enemy with the truth. I know I do.
Tell them how to get their website.
Oh, yeah. PamelaGeller.com or AtlasShrugs.com. Also, get on Facebook. And when you get blocked or something like that happens, take a screenshot, send it to me because we're going to need it for the big case. I have hundreds, I have thousands, even so. Get on Facebook, share. It is organic media. It is the only real media, the sharing, okay? People share what they want. They don't have to share what Scott Pelley tells them to. You need to get on these social networks, and every single day you have to share articles. I don't care if it's mine. You have to get the news out. You are a one-man media organization, and you must impact your sphere of influence. There's no excuse. It's the least you can do.
And you will love her site. I'm not kidding you. You will get every single day. You will get a message from her listing all of the things that had happened around the world in that last 24 hours. You can't believe.
You sign up, and it's free.
Yeah, sign up. But you will love it. Okay.
And I've never sold a name, ever. Not once.
Sir, as loud as you can.
One of the things you left out was Hillary called half of the Republicans deplorables, and one of the definitions of deplorables is Islamophobes.
Yes.
So, according to the Democratic Party, or at least Hillary, which they all agree, I know that, we're like racists.
It's what she said that. She actually used that word, and she used Islamophobes too. Listen, this is what they do. Look what happened to poor Matt Lauer. Anyone that goes off the reservation, no matter how many dedicated years of service, okay? This is totalitarianism, don't you see? And they mean to shut down. President Obama in October means to turn over the internet to the UN. You know what that's about. We have to fight that. There are so many fights when the man says there's something you left out. Let me tell you something, mister. I left out a lot.
Let's see. Let's go back of the room there. Yeah. Yes, sir. Just yell it out.
Where have you been all my Thank you very much. My question is this: you're Jewish.
I am.
Why? I asked the Jewish friend this, and he gave me an answer. I want to hear what you have to say. Why do so many Jewish organizations in the Jewish community support the Democratic Party? I don't support them.
Yeah.
It baffles my never again.
Okay, it's a good question. First of all, I just want to say, across all religions, I mean, you got a pope. I don't want to go there, okay? Just saying. I mean, you got some churches with their outreach and their nonsense and their, my point is, it's really across the board. But what I will tell you about the leftist Jews that you're referring to is I can tell you this. A, they worship at the church of human secularism. They are by and large godless. The religious Jews are all with me. Also, let's look to the Bible. Yeah, it's true. The religious Jews are all with me. Yes, there's no question about it. Let's look to the Bible. Two very quick stories. So Moses went up to get the tablets. You remember that, right? Okay, went up and down in the valley. They're commanding. They're making a golden calf. Well, those were Democrats.
All right, right here, sir. Yeah.
I just wanted to mention that I'm Derek. I went to the 9/11 Freedom Rally and photographed down there, and the invocation was given by a female.
Y'all heard that? He went down to the 9/11 celebration in Denver before he came out here and was photographing. The invocation was given by an imam.
This is what I'm trying to tell you. We don't care about the religion, okay? Islam is a complete system. It's legal, dietary, political, social, it's everything. In military, it's everything. This is what we're concerned with. We're not concerned with the religious aspect. I said, I don't care if you worship a stone. Don't stone me with it. I care about the political aspect. I care about the legal aspect. And all of this hate speech, it is Sharia. The word hate speech is a euphemism. It's a way of taking a steaming pile of dung, putting it in a Tiffany box with a little white ribbon, and serving it up to the unsuspecting American consumer. Hate speech is, there should be no, this was Bush's mistake too. Never should have signed off on hate crime. All crime is hate. You're criminalizing thought. That's a huge problem.
What should he have done where he goes and attends this and an imam, which is absolutely disgusting and disgraceful, gives an address?
Well, I would have said, I would have gone over to whoever the organizers were, and I would say, where is the priest? Where is the rabbi? Where is the Hindu? What do they have? Thank you, guru. I don't know. Is that racist, guru? It's a joke. That's what I tell my parents that write me, where they have care coming into the classroom. You have to know how to fight. You have to know how to win a war. You don't go in and say, I don't want that imam. I don't want in that classroom. You go in and you say, if you're going to have an imam in the classroom, I want a rabbi. You have to do this. Don't even bring up Islam and go in when they teach the Shahada. If you're going to teach the Shahada, you have to teach the Lord's Prayer. You have to teach the Shema. I'd look up every religion in the world. What do the Zoroastrians say? What do the Baha'is say? They have to do this because it is a violation of the Establishment Clause, and that's another lawsuit that we're quietly pursuing. This really is a violation. The public schools really, what they're presenting under world history is nothing but dawah. They're not teaching Islamic history. They're not teaching the unfathomable slaughter, for example, of Hindus by Muslims in India. Or the Jewish. Go online, go to YouTube, okay, and put in Khaybar. Because at every rally against Israel, at every the Marmara, in Jerusalem, in Paris, in London, everywhere they're singing Khaybar, Ya Yahud, Seish Muhammad, Sayaud. Everywhere, from sea to shining sea. And what is that? Khaybar, Ya Yahud is they're saying, Khaybar, remember Jews, remember Khaybar. The armies of Muhammad are coming. Why? Because Muhammad exterminated an entire tribe of Jews, beheaded the boys and the men, and took the women as slaves. And so they're saying, we're just being Muhammad. We're just following the perfect example. So, why is Khaybar taught? Do you even know about Khaybar? If the one guy raises his hand and shows off again, I'm throwing him out.
Okay, that's going to be it now. But I want you to please, if you will, just for a few minutes, stay seated because we have to move her from place to place, and we can't do that when there's a big crowd.
Yeah.
I want to just...
And buy the book. It helps the work. It funds the work. I bought the books. Also, I have a few of the movies. The Ground Zero Mosque movie. It's very good. We made it professionally at Palm Studios. It's the story that no one knows. How did we defeat that mosque? That movie will, and it's really fun for the whole family. Popcorn, champagne. It really is.
The only thing that I disagree with in her entire speech is when she said, "I have no friends." I think you've got thousands and thousands of friends. Okay. All right, so that's it. Stay seated for a little bit. You guys want to? Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, that's exactly right. We are absolutely. You know, there's Mike, want to come here? We're gonna do the going at this.
We are not. We have moved the book signing out to the lobby.
Oh, okay.
So feel free to just file out this direction, the way Pamela just came in, through the main doors that you came in. We will have Kathy, who is in the back right corner, waving envelopes. One of the things that will really help, and Tom
Come here.
Tom hates this.
Get over here. Right.
All right. Okay. All right.
I think you're going to say the right stuff.
Okay. Tom has started Team America PAC exactly to carry this message forward. It's critical that small donations, which go a long way with Tom, will make a difference around the country, fighting on every level. There are envelopes here. They are political contributions. They do need your information filled out. If you can contribute a $10 bill, it will add up to a lot. And we would really appreciate that. Tom has a dog to feed and other important things. I mean, I'm not sure what. Yeah. So Kathy will have envelopes. She is going to go over to the location right here. I'm putting her over there where she can be in your way as you walk out.
Looks like Vanna.
Yep, she really does, except cuter. So book signings here. Anybody who wants to talk with Tom, get his picture, etc., he's available. Thank you all.
Yeah, and one last thing, what comes to mind is that when Pam's talking about what to say to people, how to deal with this issue with your friends, your relatives, just remember this. They have taken over the language, and we have to sort of take that back. And one of the things it's imperative, I think, when and it can easily be done because you're going to be in conversations about this all the time. And somebody's going to say the word terrorist or the war on terror or something like that. You must correct them every single time. Terror is a tactic. It is not the thing with which you are at war. It is a thing that your enemy uses. It's a tactic. You can't go to war against a tactic. It makes it too amorphous, and that's exactly why they do it. You must always correct them when they say that. And you say, no, it's not terror or a terrorist. It is radical Islam. That's the terrorist. That's the terror, right? So that's something everybody can do. It's a simple process. You're going to be, this will happen over and over again. You will hear it, you will see it, and just use that. Just do that one little thing. It's a good start. And I want to thank you. I really and truly do. I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for being here today. And again, all the people that helped put this together, my wife and my sister-in-law who were at the table coming in. Thank you, dear. Thank you very much. Everybody did a great job. Remember the things she says. Keep her in your prayers. Keep America in your prayers. We all desperately need it. Thank you again. Bye-bye. Yes, sir.
You know, it might be a useful vehicle to use radical Islam, but in reality, it's all Islam.
Well, that's true.
If you look at the picture and the
Oh, absolutely.
right. I mean, I've lived and worked in